We've got everything glued up, and now what I'll do is I'll just flip this over and start trimming everything up to its final shape. Okay, so here's the inner side with a nice finish paneling on. You can see here's this where the brake is for the tail section, and there will be a bulkhead here, so it'll cover up most of that. So we'll go ahead and get the trim bit into the router and trim up all these edges. Okay, so here's the bottom of the panel, and if you remember, I've got this piece in here that is this little spacer. So I moved the screws from the bottom part. So now I'm going to go ahead and try and get this spacer out of here because I'm going to need to trim this off. So we're going to do all the tape here. All right. It's a little hesitant to come out. I will be reinstalling that piece. So I will be reinstalling that piece once I get this trimmed off, just to protect that edge. But for right now, it needs to come off of there. Alright, I've got everything removed here, all the tape removed so it doesn't bind up the whip bit. I've got the pattern cutting bit in my router, got it adjusted, and now we'll go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to be doing a fair amount of plowing here as far as just cutting this whole thing off, so there's no way for me to take it a little bit at a time. So what you want to do is you just want to go relatively slowly and just kind of watch it for burning and stuff like that. You just want to try and preserve that bit as much as you can. Okay, you can see what happened right here. Got a little divot out of there, and the reason is this is where my wiring is going to go through. So there's a hole there, and I'd put some tape over it trying to keep that roller from rolling down into that hole, but it did. So anyway, I don't know. This may be right on the edge of the interior cabinet, so it may cover it up. If not, I'll just patch it with a little wood filler or something like that. So okay, and I'm just going to go around here and make sure that this is all nice and smooth. You saw me get hung up just a little bit right here. What was happening is there was a lot of glue in here, and the roller was rolling over the glue, and so it was kind of heating it up, and I don't know whether it was melting it or whatever it was. So what I did is I just ran the bit down a little farther and then trimmed all the glue off. Okay, I've gotten everything trimmed up. Now I am going to be making some of the most nerve-wracking cuts so far in the building of the teardrop. I've already done it on one side, and I'm going to do it on this side. I'm going to show you how I did it. So this is for making the dados for the bulkheads. So you can see I've got them marked out here. So there's the dados for the bulkheads. Okay, this is my reference point. This is the countertop, and then the other difficult cut is cutting out for the lid. So here is the curve, and what I did is I took the part that I've already cut and I traced it, but originally what I did is I just took a French curve and got a nice curve here, and then went in 2 inches and traced a line. And this goes down to the edge of the countertop. So anyway, so this is these are the cuts that I need to make now, and these are kind of nerve-wracking to do because they need to be identical to what I did on the other side, because there's going to be bulkheads that go from side to side on these things, and of course that hatch lid needs to be the same, so when I build it, it's not warped or out of shape. So one of the other things that happened when I cut the first one is this plywood has a very thin veneer. So this nice finished surface here is a very thin veneer, and so when I made the cuts, I got some pretty bad, pretty gnarly tear out on the other panel, and I can show that to you. So I got some pretty bad tear out. So I think you can see that. And so what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to score this with a knife first. That's just to cut that top layer of veneer, and then I'll come along with my router bit and cut it out. So hopefully that will keep me from getting that tear out. And what I'm going to use is just my plunge router with a 1/4 inch spiral upcut bit to do the edges, and then I do the center with just this dado bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and get some straight edges set up and do the scoring, and then we'll do the cuts. So I'll go ahead and make this cut and see how it works before I score the others. Okay, I went down 1/4 inch, and it appears that the scoring made a very, very clean edge there. So I'm going to continue to do that. Okay, now I've got these cut. I will change the bit out and cut out this other stuff here in the middle. And that's what we're after, is a nice clean slot, 1/4 inch deep. Okay, now the nature of the bit, or the nature of when you cut these things, these outside corners will have a curve, and they need to be straight. So I'm going to just take my chisel and make a square corner. It's not too bad out, but good square corner. And I'll be doing that on all the corners, like on the doors and whatnot as well. Alright, now it's time to cut out the hatch, and like I said, this is one of the most nerve-wracking, it's one of the hardest parts here that I've done so far. So I've got to cut this curve, and I will do that with a jigsaw. with my saber saw. And I'm using a down cutting blade because I want this edge to be as nice as possible. So I've got to cut on the outside of this line. So we'll go ahead and give this a whirl. Okay, so that's cut, and then the rest of it I will cut with a spiral bit, and then come along and finish it off with a jigsaw. For cutting out this hatch, this hatch part, I've put something on my router base here, and this is an edge guide, and so this will roll right along the edge and hold this bit out 2 inches from the edge. So it'll be something like this. So that's up along the edge, and then I'll just move it along like this and just trace the edge, and it should cut out along this line. So I'm using the 1/8 inch plunge cut bit. I'm thinking that the 1/8 inch is going to be about right. I hope it is. We will see once we start actually putting this together. But an 1/8 inch bit here, and there will be some molding in here, and so there's got to be a little bit of space for molding, but I think 1/4 of an inch is too much. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting, and I'm going to have to make a whole bunch of passes here because this is 1 1/4 inches thick. And so I'm going to have to cut on this side and then flip it over and cut on the other side as well. Okay, time to flip it over to the other side. Alright, I've turned it over and I've gotten this slot cut here. I took a drill bit, drilled down through here, kind of wobbled that out a little bit so I can get a jigsaw blade down in there. And now I'll just take my jigsaw. Okay, so my jigsaw must not be quite square. Oh, it isn't. I should have checked it. So it was cutting into here, and so it kind of made a mess of this. Well, I guess I'm going to have to clean that up with some sandpaper, and we'll get that figured out. Okay, but just to give you an idea of how this hatch works, let's see if we can see that. So that'll be like that, and the pivot is right here. There's the hatch. So once I clean that up and put the molding on there and the trim and whatnot, I think it's going to be okay, but I don't like getting a nasty edge like that. So, but I'll clean that all up with some sandpaper and a rasp probably, and we'll get that all figured out. But I'm not going to do that right now, so we're going to continue to work on the inner side of this panel, getting it ready to put aside and or to varnish, and then we'll put it aside and build the floor and the bulkheads, and then we will set this thing up.